Let's see how we can install TopUp hook. Open request.c file. This is the first hook. Copy the code. Let's get back to the docs. Switch to hooks builder. I have already created two accounts, transactional account and funding account. Both have a balance of 1000 ZA each. Now let's paste the code. Make sure to save and compile. We need to install this hook on transactional account, but let's first reference the documentation. That is, hook 1 takes two hook parameters, destination account, which is the funding account, and the balance amount at which this hook gets triggered. So let's first get account ID of funding account. Copy this. Now let's install the hook. This hook should get triggered on payment transaction. Hook parameter destination account, which is funding account ID, and the A, that is the account balance at which this hook should request top-up from the funding account. Let's request top-up at 995 ZA account balance. Update the sequence, fee, and set hook. Let's wait for the balance to update. Okay, done. Now the balance is 999. The hook will request top up from the funding account when the balance is below 995 ZA. But how does the funding account know that it has to send some ZA to the transactional account? For that, we need to install the second hook. So copy the code. Inside payment.c file, get back to the editor. Paste the code. Again, save and compile. Install it on funding account. This hook should get triggered on invoke transaction. Let's look at the documentation. Hook 2. Global balance threshold. The requesting accounts can request top up only when the account balance is below this threshold. That's because you can install it on multiple hooks. So there is a global balance at which requesting accounts can request. Let us just leave it at 995. Set hook. Next important step is to whitelist the requesting account or the transactional account. Let's get the account ID of transactional account. Copy this. This is an invoke transaction. So this is how you whitelist the requesting accounts and also set how much top-up ZA you are willing to send upon request. This is the account ID to whitelist, and this is the amount we are willing to send upon request. For example, 2 ZA. So this is how much we are willing to send to this whitelisted account upon request. Each whitelisted account can have a different top-up amounts. So now it got whitelisted. Let's cross-verify it on XRPL win. Copy the R address, switch to the appropriate network, namespace, click on this. So this is the whitelisted account ID and its configured top-up amount. Now the fun part. Please note down the account balances of both these accounts. Transactional account has 999 ZA. Let's make a regular payment to any random account from transactional account. I'll first send 1 ZA. So the balance would be 998 ZA, which should not trigger the top-up request. So we have 999. If I send 1 ZA, it will be 998, and this should not trigger the top-up request. Let's wait. It's 998. Let's wait. The balance doesn't get updated, which means it didn't send request for the top up. Now let's send 4 ZA, which makes the balance 994, which triggers a top up request to funding account. I'll quickly get back to this screen once I make the payment. Now watch, the balance is 994 ZA. In a couple of seconds, the transaction will be finalized and the balance got updated to 996 ZA. I hope you observed that. Let's do it again. This time I'll send 2 ZA and the balance will be 994, which triggers the funding request because the balance falls below 995. As you can see, it's 994 and after a couple of seconds it becomes 996. Now I'll just send 1 ZA, but the balance doesn't fall below 995, so it should not request for funding. Let's check that. So the balance is 995.07. Hence, it does not trigger a request. However long you wait, the balance remains the same. Now again, what happens if we send 1 ZA? Now the balance becomes 994 ZA. So it should send request to funding account. Let's check that. Now the funding account should send 2 ZA to the requesting account. And there you go. So that's it. Now you can import only the transactional account into Zaman and make some transaction and see the results.